It's potato harvest time, and you're in the garden with Patrick.
Today what I'm going to show you is it's harvesting of these potatoes. So we planted these potatoes about maybe 3 months ago. So most potatoes are going to be harvested within 60 to 90 and some varieties up to 120 days. So for example, your Yukon Gold potatoes, you're going to harvest those after you plant them around 60 to 90 days after you plant. There's still time successive plantings of potatoes that you can do maybe twice a year depending on what zone you're in. So we're in zone 8B. I have at least another 3 to 4 months of growth before the first freeze. So we're gonna plant another planting of these potatoes. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. You'll see some updates on those. I'm going to put a link below on planting these potatoes. I'm planting these in a raised bed today, but I've also planted some potatoes in containers, and they've done pretty well also. So it just depends. So the thing I love about potatoes and other root vegetables is that you just don't know what you're going to get. So we're going to it's going to like Christmas. We're going to be digging up some of these potatoes, and we're going to find out if we have some little small potatoes or big potatoes. But I have a good feeling about these potatoes that they're going to be a lot of them and some large ones. The most important thing is you want to know when you're supposed to harvest these potatoes, okay? So there's different stages of how they will be growing when you first plant them and over the time. So this is just a really good example of something that you definitely don't want to pull this up. We're going to pull it up today because I'm going to plant some more potatoes. But you see here, this is nice looking plant. It's got green growth on it, and you know this is still growing. If you contrast that with this, okay, this is already, the vines are pretty much almost dead, and there's not a whole lot of growth on there. So what you're going to see is a lot of different things on your potato growth. And as you can see here, we have some where the flowering is occurring. So they're going to grow up to a certain height, and then certain varieties will also flower. Now, you can pick your potatoes at that stage when they flower. Some people suggest that, some people say they do that. That's when you're going to get your new potatoes. So those new potatoes that you get in the stores, those smaller potatoes, they have a different flavor, they're great. That's when you would want to harvest your potatoes in that stage. So you would have the plant here, and you'll see here how it's flowering, and you'll get that flower, and then that's a good stage if you want to get the new potatoes. Now what we're doing is we're maximizing, and we're going to get those long, big potatoes, hopefully. And so we're going to wait till the plant kind of dies off. Okay, you're going to see the growth kind of stops, and you're going to see all of this foliage here is pretty much died back. This is the stage that you want to harvest your potato. There's different ways depending on how your soil is, and you can use a pitchfork, you can use a shovel like I'm using here, or you can also use a trowel. I'm joined here by my daughter, Catherine. She's visiting here from San Antonio. What we're going to do is there's different ways of doing this. So you can loosen up the soil if you want using your shovel, or you can also use a pitchfork. A lot of times I don't like to do that just because I'm afraid that I'm going to somehow gouge or do something with those potatoes in there. So you could do this and you can loosen it up, but the easiest thing that you can do really is to just go ahead and pull them up, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and pull those out of the ground first. So you're going to pull these different dead plants out, and as you see in here, you're just kind of pulling them up, and somehow this will come out, but then there's a little potato that is part of that. So we're just going to pull first all of these out, and hopefully we'll get a few potatoes as we're pulling out, but basically that's the first thing you're going to do. So see how you can see here, these are just what they call tubers. So the potato grows off of the plant here. So we got some small potatoes here. So we're just going to continue to, there's a nice size one here too. So this is the fun part, right? So we're just going to set these. Now I have all of this whole area here, so we're just going to put these in a little bucket. We'll just continue. So we're going to use that trowel, and we're going to just pull up all of these plants here, and a couple more. Some little baby ones. So I'm going to pull all of these out first. And then once we do that, oh, that's a little red potato. So I planted two different varieties. I planted the Yukon Gold, and I also planted some red potatoes. Now that one, actually, if you look, that was a red potato. Remember we were talking about the new potatoes. So this is a nice growth here, and this is your new potato. So I don't think I planted two different varieties in here. I planted one variety, the Yukon Gold, and this is your new potato. So that's a good example of how you're going to harvest at different stages. So this is a little early, but again, we're going to pull all of these out anyway. Now you can, if you want, leave your potatoes in a little longer, and they'll stay. So again, you can see how this is growth and it's still a nice little red potato. That you can leave them in about a week or two, no more than a week or two after after all of this has died off. What you'll see is the growth will still continue up until when the plant is dead, and then they'll be able to sit in the ground for that period of time for a week or two before they start to rot in the ground. So now that we've kind of pulled most of them out, okay, we're going to go ahead and use the trowel. And we're just going to kind of loosen up the soil. And look, we got a whole bunch as we loosen up that soil. So you could either use your trowel, you can use your hands. I like using my hands. You know, remember there is a study that they did where when you put your hands in the dirt, in the ground, it releases serotonin, which is a happy hormone. And so that's why we're always happy as gardeners. Well, most of the time, except when we're harvesting things and we don't get very much. So we're going to continue to do this and find, look at this, potato, potato, potato. Look at that. That's a nice sized potato. So this is fun. And I'm so happy to be able to do this with my daughter. And it's a lot of fun. She's a future gardener. Nice size. But see, now look what happened. I hit that one with my trowel. So you got to be careful. So that one we're going to have tonight for dinner. So I'm just going to use my hands, and you can feel them. It's so satisfying. Another one. Just to kind of, another one.
I just felt there had to be one more, and there it was. So I had about 10 pounds of potatoes from this raised bed harvest. After you've harvested your potatoes, you don't want to wash them right away because then they will not store very well. So you can just let them sit out for about a week or so, and then you can put them in a dark place and they will last for months. Thanks for watching. Until next time, happy gardening.